Hey guys, Sharpend here. In this video we're going to break down how I made my latest single, Lonely. So it all started with a splice sample. The original sounded a bit different and it was pitched a bit higher. And as soon as I heard it, I knew I wanted to do something fun with it. So I pitched it down and I added some plate reverb and some very subtle slap delay. To make it even more fun. And then I started building from that. So at that time, it was a long time ago when I started this project. I used to just take splice samples and try and build beats around them. So I had this beat already with like a full drum kit and everything. So the first thing I did was just layer the guitar sample with the drum beat. And then of course came the 808s. So at first it was this sound. So the 808s in general are just following the pattern from the guitar with some slides here and there, like here or here. And then I had the idea of writing like a basic melody to go on top, which was the main melody of Lonely. And I recorded some harmony. And like an answering vocal. And additional high harmony. Like I'm the only one who's lonely. And that's pretty much all I had at first. So I had a very basic demo with just like the guitar, the beat, and an 808. And then I started figuring out how I can expand that idea. So what I did is I figured how to create a verse. And the verse is basically the same sample, the same splice sample, just stretched like almost 4 times slower, so you get this sort of artificial guitar sound. You can really hear that it's very similar if we put it on dry as well. It's just a very slow down. And you get a sort of artifact in the sound due to this insane amount of slowing down the sample. So I built on top of that by adding a few effects. So some distortion, some slap delay, some vibrato as well. And also some beat crushing, but right now it's being low passed, so yeah. And this plugin, which is a personal favorite, it just sort of mangles the signal, sort of like a beat crusher, but crazier. So you get an even crazier sound. And that's how I started the verse. So I only had this sound. Wake up. And then I started writing lyrics. So here are the vocals, and I decided that I need to start adding some sounds to it. So I added very basic percussion and some claps. And then I decided that I need to build up the energy. So the next thing I did was create a different sort of 808 pattern, which is a lot more bouncy. It has a lot of slide notes. And this 808 pattern basically leads to the chorus. It has a slowdown here. And to add some interesting stuff, I also added some atmospheres that I recorded there in the back. And also some party that I recorded. I added some shouts in the background as well. And I think it just sort of like accentuates the vibe of the song, that it's like a very party themed song, but also kind of sad and, I don't know if depressing, but a bit sadder on the lyrics. It's only a feeling. And then we get to the chorus. So I really like the bouncy 808 pattern, so I kept it for the first part of the chorus as well. You can hear it's the same pattern as well. And I just started to build up the chorus to get to the beat drop as well. So we have like this vibra slap sound, which is great. And the percussion starts to build up as well in this part. So it's low pass and it gets opened up. And I add a lot of other percussion, like cowbells and stuff. So we have like cowbells and some Foley stuff and other cowbell style samples. And then there's this really cool sound right here, which is Serum Patch. It's a very basic wah sort of sound, but it has quite a lot of effects. Without it, it would sound like this. So very basic wah, and I low passed it quite a bit and added some vibrato, and then I added a lot of reverb and some delay. It already sounds a lot cooler, but I also layered it with like a muted strummed guitar. So together we get this, and with the drums. And I'm really proud of this sound because it almost sounds like the wah synth and the muted guitar are essentially the same sound together. And it's a really cool example of sound designing where layers can complement each other so well that it sounds like the same sound together. So that's pretty much it for the first chorus, and then we have like a short break. And I've used a glitch plugin and increased the beat crushing on the guitar to make it sound weirder as it goes to the second verse. And a very nice effect. And then we get to the second verse. So the second verse is pretty similar to the first verse, but it has a lot more drums and not just like claps. Let's see it. So we have a more fast-paced rhythm and a basic 808 sound from the second part of the chorus actually. It has pretty much the same things as the chorus, but it also has like a saxophone part, which is very cool. It's this thing. And actually the cool thing here is that the saxophone doesn't play all of the notes. It's layered with a synth. And they're compressed together really tightly so that it sounds more coherent. And let's see what else we have here. We have a short stop here, which I'm very proud of. I did it with the 808. It's going crazy. So a lot of sliding. And to bring it back, I just added a lot of like car swerve sounds. And like a horn and some rides cymbal, so you get this thing. And I really like doing that. It happens in quite a lot of my songs. It happens in Flickering as well. It's just a fun break in the second verse to have this sort of slow down and then going back to full speed. And then the pre-chorus, the second pre-chorus is where things get a bit crazy, and I love it. So I wanted to go full like, I don't know, 1930s jazz, going completely crazy with the sound design here. So I took a lot of contact instruments and just went crazy on the jazzy part. So we have a walk-in bass. We have the same guitar from the chorus. Let's see what else we have. We have some glockenspiel that I recorded myself. It's a sampled contact instrument, and also some strings. And of course, like a cinema reel sound, which just adds to the vibe. I love it a lot. We also have some wind chimes. And let's see what else we have here. We have like a bird whistle lead sound. Just to set the vibe a bit more, and also some like contact trumpets. And of course the trumpet that I got from this Fiverr guy. I have a video about that if you want to see that. So together we got quite the brass section, and there's some piano, ragtime piano improvisations. It's really fun. And I think that the entire thing, I passed it through isotope vinyl to sort of high pass it a bit and give it an older record sound. Because then when you get to the second chorus, it hits a lot harder, because the bass here isn't as significant as the bass in the chorus. It's very light, it's plucked, and it doesn't have the same impact as an 808. So this sort of dissonance between this part in the chorus creates a very satisfying feeling when you get to the chorus. Also, I switched up the drums entirely. Like at the first chorus, it was this sort of drum sound. And here I went for a more trap-inspired beat. So the hi-hats are very different, snappier. The kick is different. The snare, I think, stayed the same. Yeah, the snare stayed the same, but the snappy hi-hats make a lot of difference compared to. And it's a very nice switch up in my opinion. So in this part, I also reintroduced the verse guitars to give more depth to this part. And then we start introducing the trumpet improvisations. So there's a lot of them. It starts very slow. So it's very in the back and everything, but then it just grows. And you get more trumpets, and you get some saxophone solo with the cowbells and everything. So basically it just grows in intensity and becomes a very big chorus with a lot of brass instruments. And then we get to this sort of bridge after chorus part, which is this. Which has again the Fiverr trumpet, which is this, which is following the main vocal melody. Some trumpet improvisations combined with the main trumpet line. And the beat here is very similar to the verse, but I also added a drum loop, an acoustic drum loop that sort of complements the groove quite a lot. So let's try and hear it together. I'm missing a clap. I'm sure it's there somewhere. Yeah, it's there somewhere. So this really increases the groove and makes it a lot more fun. Like without it, it sounds a bit emptier. And then for the final chorus, I wanted to end on a similar note of the pre-chorus, of the second pre-chorus, which is a lot more fun, a lot more old movie inspired. So I'm ditching the electronic drums and just keeping the walking bass, some very fast jazz cymbals. I'm keeping the harmonies, the whistle sounds, the glockenspiel, the strings, the brass section in all of its glory, including some improvisations from the chorus, and it's just a very fun ending. And then I'm reintroducing the same acoustic drums. And finishing with a slowdown and a bass one-shot, which is this thing. And of course I'm adding with the vibro slap sound. Because it's a party song, it needs to be fun. And that's pretty much it. This entire song was a lot about building around one sample. I started with a chorus, then went to a first verse, a second verse with that same sample, just manipulated quite a bit. And then it was a lot of like collecting real instruments to play in the song. In my other video, I talked a lot about it, like how I got electric guitar into this and some saxophone and the trumpet, of course. And then it was comping everything together. Like there are a lot of things that are missing in this project that are in the mixing project, which is like the guitar parts and some of the trumpets and the saxophone parts. But altogether, it was like a very easy to assemble project because a lot of the sounds were the same. The 808 is pretty much the same. The drums were different, but it follows the same idea. So it was a lot of just mixing and matching a few good elements that work together well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.